It's not a reboot, but rather a refresh. The new NDA-3 government gets going. Prime Minister Modi signalled a continuity in portfolio allocation and retained his party colleagues in key ministries. Amit Shah took charge at the Home Ministry this morning. He also retains the Ministry of Cooperation. S. Jaishankar, who retained the External Affairs Ministry, took charge as well. Shivraj Singh Chauhan, after a long innings as Madhya Pradesh Chief Minister, started his new stint as Union Agriculture Minister. Manohar Lal Khattar, the former Haryana Chief Minister, took charge at the Power Ministry. He's also in charge of Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs. Hardeep Singh Puri, who retains the Petroleum Ministry, took charge as well. It was also the first day in the Health Ministry for BJP President J.P. Nadda. Ashwini Vaishnav, who retained Railways, IT and was given additional charge of Information Broadcasting, took charge as well. Ministers from BJP's alliance partners took charge. Chirag Paswan is India's Food Processing Minister, a ministry once held by his father, late Ram Vilas Paswan. Rajiv Ranjan Singh of the JDU took charge at the Panchayati Raj Ministry. India's new MSME Minister, Jitin Ram Manjhi, took charge also. And Shereen Bhan is joining us now live. Shereen, continuity is the theme for Modi 3.0. Busy days ahead for the government with the budget now just a month away.
Well, that's right, Parikshit. As we've been reporting here, it is not just continuity, but it is essentially a refresh as far as Modi 3.0 is concerned. As you pointed out there, and you listed out many of the key ministries, we continue to see the same people helming those ministries, whether it is home or finance or commerce. The notable inclusions include, of course, people like Shivraj Singh Chauhan, who has now made it to the centre. He gets two significant portfolios, agriculture and rural development. We're here at the CNBC-TV18 SME Awards, and I have to say that one is picking up a sense of disappointment in the room, because if the expectation was that perhaps there would have been greater alignment linking the SME sector, which in many ways is considered the backbone of India's economy, to the core ministries of commerce, perhaps. But what has happened instead is you've got Jitin Ram Manjhi and MOS as Shobha Karandale looking at the MSME space. So the expectation was that perhaps it should have been something given to somebody like Piyush Goyal for additional charge, considering he is the Commerce Minister. But that apart, some of the other notable inclusions, J.P. Nadda getting the Health Ministry, and of course now the question is who will take over as the BJP party president. So it would be fair to say that ministers have really hit the ground running, because for many of them, they literally walked out of those rooms and walked right back in. For people like Jyotiraditya Scindia, though, there will be a change. For instance, he's given up civil aviation. The young TDP minister, MP, has come in to take over civil aviation from him. Scindia will now look at telecom, which is a portfolio less for Ashwini Vaishnav. Vaishnav, though, continues to retain significant ministries, and a whole host of them, railways being one, IT, ITES, and of course, the Information and Broadcasting Ministry added on to his existing portfolios as well. As you pointed out, the budget is perhaps a month away. What we are given to understand is that any time between the 7th of July to the 17th of July is when we could see the Finance Minister rise to present her 7th budget. Remember, the interim budget was, as we were calling it, Nirmala Sitharaman Super 6. It is now going to be the 7th budget for the Finance Minister. This will be a full budget. In terms of prioritization, we'll get Timsy to talk about what the government intends to do from here on. Remember, we did have the numbers already being put in place, but the expectation is, as Sapna and others were reporting, and you were reporting as well, that maybe there could be some new areas, or at least additional allocation for some areas. There's a CLSA note out, Parikshit, which is interesting because it talks about whether the government could consider, for instance, raising the farm installment from 6,000 to 8,000 rupees. This was the big expectation ahead of the elections, and one had imagined that that would be something that the interim budget would take forward. Forget anything else, just factoring in inflation, for instance. That was the expectation, and it was a legitimate ask, but that didn't go through. So maybe it could be something that the government will consider for the full budget. Remember, they do have a buffer. They've got that RBI dividend, which has been substantially higher than what the budget had factored in. So they've got that cushion, they've got that buffer, and they could perhaps use that across some of these schemes. But that is speculation at this point in time. But, other important matters for the government to consider outside of the budget will, of course, be crucial issues pertaining to the GST. The GST Council has not met in a very long time. So now, under the stewardship of the Finance Minister, she will continue to be the chairman of the council. The expectation is that perhaps some of those contentious issues related to GST, rate rationalization, for instance, would that be back on the table or not? Remember, recommendations were given by the former Karnataka Chief Minister headed committee on rate rationalization, and this has been the big expectation, that one needs to move down that road, one needs to move down that path to ensure that there is ease of doing business and ease of compliance as well. So those will be some of the other issues to watch out for. But of course, it's early days. That 100-day plan, as the Prime Minister put it, has been put on the table for every ministry, and I would imagine that every ministry has already drawn up priorities as part of that 100-day agenda and 100-day plan. But let me go across to our colleagues now. Parikshit, Timsy is standing by to